This episode is, I have to give God a shout out. I have to give him his glory always. But particularly, in regards to this episode, because he gave the idea to my ex sister-in-law on how to get my ex-husband to move out the house. And that may seem devious, but just keep watching, you'll understand. So I have to give God his glory, right? Because he's God, right? So no man can take the glory for what he's done, because he gave her the idea. Okay, so how she at first, it seemed like she would have come up with it by herself, but no, it was definitely all God. But before I get into it, welcome to Receive and Relate. If this is your first time here, I'm so glad you clicked on this video for story time. My name is Tara Walker, and I'm so glad you're here. If you are a returning subscriber and or returning visitor, hey y'all, hey. So yeah, if you've been following along, if you're not new here for the first time, or if you've been following along, you now know we separated before. What this episode is getting ready to be is the second and final separation. Okay, this was the second and final. I ain't never going back to him again. Okay, and so I'm getting ready to show you how. I'm getting ready to tell you how that came about. But I want to just go back a little bit, how we separated the first time. Reminder for those who had already been following along. Okay, and I think I said in the video I gave him 2 days, but I think it was 3. I don't think it was 2. I think it was 3. Or maybe it was 2. Anyway, nonetheless, it was 2 to 3 days I gave him to get out of the apartment. And that I was moving, and I got my own another new place, and I was leaving him. And so, or we were separated. And and of course he ran with that narrative to make it seem like I just up and just told him to get out of the house, and without no place to live and stuff like that. That was absolutely not true. So I made sure I said it on the video then, but I'm making it abundantly clear again, okay, for whoever watches this nationally or internationally, whoever you are, okay? I did not just kick my husband out of the house without a place to go and put him on the streets like a homeless person. Absolutely incorrect. What a lot of people do not know is my ex-husband still had his apartment that he had prior to us moving in, right? And now that I even think about this when I'm talking to y'all, I even believe that was God. I'm glad he kept it. But reason why he kept it though also is because he was subleasing it to his mom. So his mom was staying there. It was a 2-bedroom basement apartment, okay, in DC. His mom was staying there while he was married to me, and how he would pay the rent was through his mother, because she had a job. So he had a place to go. Okay, that was not going to be any guilt on my part, and now to this day I'm glad that he did still keep his apartment, because it would have taken me longer to leave, because I'm not going to put nobody on the street and be homeless. Like, no matter how much he tried to run this narrative like I'm this evil person, I promise you I'm not. So that is how and why I gave him why I gave him the 3 days. Why I gave him the 3 days is because he was crazy and abusive. And who gonna sit up there at the first of the month and go through a whole entire month with you before it's time for you to move out, and you crazy and abusive and passive aggressive and just, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't gonna do that. That wouldn't be wise. Okay, the Lord gives us wisdom, people, okay, for a reason. Okay, so I didn't tell him until almost at the end of the month for that very reason. Excuse my missing nails, okay? It ain't about my nails. I'm getting them done soon, by the grace of God. So anyway, so that it was this first separation. Now this is how we separated the second time. So remember I told you my sister-in-law knew what was going on now, and now she see, because of the big argument that we had on the last episode. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. She now could physically see and hear, you know what I'm saying? Now she didn't just hear word of mouth from me. She could like physically and she could literally see and hear how he was to me. And She was like, yeah, nah. And on top of it, she wasn't getting her rent. So the agreement that they made was that he would pay her rent weekly out of my unemployment. And unbeknownst to me, she told me, she ended up telling me, unbeknownst to me, he wasn't doing that. He wasn't giving her the rent. So that was another reason why she was like, oh yeah, he gotta go, because he basically living here. Not only is he abusing me and stuff like that, mentally, emotionally, verbally, and all of that, he living here for rent free. You know, he coming and going as he please with, you know what I'm saying? Like people, like grown people get to live rent free out here. Like, who does that? You know? So he was like, he gotta go. So what she did was she came to talk to me one day when he wasn't there. And she said, I came up with a plan to get him to move. And I was like, okay, what's up? And so she said, I'm going to tell him, no. She said, I'm going to call a meeting with you both. And I'm going to tell you both that I'm selling the house. And I'm giving y'all 30 days to leave because I'm getting ready to put the house on the market. That's what she said. And I was like, oh, that's genius. She said, yeah, but obviously, you know, of course, you're not leaving. This is so he'll think that I'm selling the house, so he can start to get his stuff together to get out. Now, what we knew was that he thought that we would be leaving together, but he got that revelation real, and I was worried about that. Actually, I was concerned about that because I was like, he really gonna think I'm leaving out this house with him, right? And so, but I just gave it to the Lord. You know, I was just like, I prayed and I just was like, God, I don't know how you gonna do it, but let this Bama know I ain't leaving with him. I'm not going nowhere with him. And so, that's what happened. So she called, I don't know, maybe like a day or the next day or maybe a couple of days later, she called again, like she said she would. Matter of fact, you know what? It was the same day of the argument. Let me backtrack. Okay. When she came up with this plan and told me about it, it was before the argument. That's what it was. You know what? Come to think of it, that's probably why I was in such a good mood and feeling myself anyway for my birthday. Even I was going to do that anyway. You know, go and get my hair done, get my nails. Because remember, see, I had my own ATM cards back now, so I could do what I wanted to do with my unemployment. You know what I'm saying? And so she told me before, right? She told me before this argument, because remember how I said we was arguing all night long. When the sun came up and he finally, let me tell you, I'm telling you, thank you, Holy Spirit, for reminding me too. The narcissistic traits in them. What they will do, y'all, is you'll have this whole 12-hour, however many hour long argument, and they'll act like nothing happened. Do you know, around probably about 8, 9 o'clock that morning? Because, see, I don't even remember if I ever even went to sleep. That's probably why I fell asleep at my birthday party. Because I don't even remember if I ever even went to sleep. Because, see, by now, you know, because you know how you are the day of your event? You like, you know, you all over the place. You want to make sure everybody got the right directions. You want to make sure your outfit's straight. You want to make sure, you know what I'm saying? You kind of like all over the place. It's not really time to sleep. So I don't even think I ever slept. No wonder I fell asleep at my own birthday. And I was drinking alcohol. So I don't even think I went back to sleep that day. But anyway, going back to the narcissist trait, they will literally act like nothing happened. Do you know that morning, the same morning that he gave me my phone back, and then like an hour or two later, he's being nice to me again and asked me if I wanted something at McDonald's. from McDonald's. And I don't know why I remember, because I remember eating a steak, egg, and cheese bagel. Like, I remember eating a steak, egg, and cheese bagel either right before me and her talk or after or something like that. I don't know. It's just a steak, egg, and cheese bagel just in my head. And I used to be addicted to them joints for a minute back then. And but that same morning was the morning that she called us to have a meeting. It was the same. I know it was the same morning, because I remember standing in front of her like I knew she was doing it, but I remember standing in front of her, and I just remember a steak, egg, and cheese bagel. So either I was eating it while she was talking, or I had just finished it, or something like that. Anyway, y'all, I haven't told this story publicly, so bear with me, because I'm trying to I'm talking about it as I'm remembering, and anyway. And so she called us up for the meeting. So we standing in her foyer, and she presents it, she presents it to us. She was like, guys, I'm getting ready to put the house on the market, so I'm giving you all 30 days to leave. And so I look at him, and he looked at me, and he was like, okay, cool, thanks for letting us know, or whatever. I said, okay, thanks for letting us know. We said, thanks for letting us know. And then we left it, we left out of the meeting and everything. Now, fast forward a few days later, he is coming to me talking about some, trying to talk to me about where we gonna stay. But I'm like ignoring him, right? Anytime he like brings it up, remember like not the first time, when we had to leave my beautiful apartment, my favorite apartment that I got when I first left him, and he had moved himself into, because I had got fired and we couldn't pay the rent, and so we had to move out. And then I gave him the idea for us to move into the sister-in-law's house. Remember, he kept pressing me about what we're gonna do, pressing me out. And he was doing that this time, but this time he wasn't pressing me as hard. But he did bring it up. He brought it up maybe like a couple times. I say that he didn't press me. He brought it up a couple times, and then I just ignored him. I was just like, I don't know what we're gonna do. And then remember I told you I was praying to God. I was like, God, get him to understand that we ain't leaving together. I don't know how you gonna do it, but I'm not leaving with this by I'm not going nowhere with him. And don't you know? He stopped asking me. He stopped asking me. He stopped talking about it, and I was like, okay, thank God. Like, I felt a relief. But come to find out, it was because he made plans of his own. And so I'll tell you about that. I'll tell you about those plans on the next episode. And so that's it for this episode. If you have not subscribed, I would encourage you to go ahead and subscribe, and like and share. And I appreciate those who have been, and I don't get a lot of views right now. I just believe by faith very strongly, let me put it like that, that this will be able to be seen by people in the future, that it will be viewed. I'm gonna go ahead and prophesy to myself. It will be viewed nationally and internationally. Because literally, y'all, I say it all the time, I didn't volunteer to do this. The Lord told me to do this. But we do things a lot that the Lord tells us to do, not for ourselves, but for other people. And so even when you're kicking and screaming and don't want to do something, it's just very important to just go ahead and do it, because what you've been through could literally encourage somebody else who may be currently going through it. We don't know everybody on this planet, but God does. And God knows what everybody on this planet needs for their healing, for their confirmations, for their understanding. If I saw somebody on YouTube and I watched them share their stories of what they've been through at the time that I was going through what I was going through, it would have encouraged me. So I guess, what I'm saying, I guess the Lord want me to say this for somebody, just be obedient, do what God tells you to do, because people, you just never know who it's for. And he gave me receive and relate. He said people receive when they can relate, daughter. So I hope you can relate, right? I hope you are receiving because you can relate. And so again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and share and comment and let me know if you can relate to something that I said in this episode. And yeah, I love you, but know that God loves you more. See you next episode. Bye.